Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. In this video here, what I want to do is I want to talk about two scripts that my son Jesse and I wrote. As everybody knows, me and people I've talked to, and a video I posted last year on the Friday 13th, Jason, Part 1 and Part 2, two movie scripts that me and him written. You know, I sent it out to people, and they loved the storyline. They loved, everything is in it. It's very, a lot of heart, a lot of gore is put back into it. And as you see here behind me, we have two covers. The reason why we have two covers is because we went ahead and turned these two scripts into books. And here's the reason why we turn these into books. Because the pure simple fact of it is this. Everybody knows, which I'll switch over to the next page right now. And the reason why I can switch over to this next page is because I want you to read this, because this is in the beginning of both books as well. Okay, these are scripts based on fan-based script book. That's how we put this book together, because the book is in script form, so you can read. When you read it, it'd be like reading a script. We put it in script form so people can get more of what it feels like to be in a movie. Plus gives them the idea of how everything's done in scripts. Okay. What we did was we started talking to people. Okay, because me and him was already writing movie scripts. He has some good storylines that he was writing already. And I was turning some of my books into movie scripts. Then when I read an article on the internet, they're talking about a new Jason movie coming out, new Friday 13th movie coming out, but then they stopped it, and then they talked about they want to make one more Jason movie and end the series just like that. But as a fan, when I've been a fan of the Jason series, I remember seeing the first one in 1980, Jason's first one, Friday 13th, which really had nothing to do with Jason, just had to do with his mother, to be honest with you. And, I've been a big fan ever since then, because I'm a big fan of Friday 13th, Halloween, with Michael Myers in it, the zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, George Romero movies I'm a big fan of. And so when me and he was talking one day, and me being a big fan, and then me talking to other people about the Jason movies, because we were sitting there and a conversation brought up and says, well, they had a new one coming out, but now they're talking about in the Jason series, and they said, well, there's a lot of unanswered questions about this or about that. They're never going to end it the way fans, as us fans wanted to see how it ends, because this is a great movie series. As you see here, if you was reading behind me, okay, I'll read right here. One day I was looking on the internet, and I came across a story that said they wanted to end the Jason series with one more movie. However, if they wanted to end the story like the Jason series, then it should be done in the best way possible. It should answer the questions that have plagued fans for years, like how was Jason able to keep coming back, or where was his sister all this time? Because you remember, one, and Jason goes to hell, now Jason has a sister. Okay, and it's like it was out of clear blue, because in the other ones it seemed like Jason was the only child. He didn't have no sisters or anything else, and he was the only child. And they basically looked like they portrayed it as Jason being the only child. So we took that in consideration. Okay, just like here, when me and my son wrote the scripts, my son and I put these scripts together to end the Friday the 13th series the right way. While writing these scripts, we wanted to give the proper respect to the original writers and to try to keep with their way of the storytelling. That's another thing we kept in mind too, because there was different writers for the scripts. Okay, you got the original man came up with the ideal, but then you had other different writers in between. these films. So we sat back and we start thinking about that. And then we start thinking about other things as well, just like, well, you know, the 40th anniversary of the series is coming up in 2020. And then we looked down and we marked all the movies. We got the movie list of stuff. There was actually 12 Jason movies made, but one was a remade film. So we don't look at that as a true fan. They never look at a remade film as part of the series. They just, you know, you got your original movies, but a remade movie is never part of the series. That's how a fan looks at it. So we look at it and we say, well, there's only 11 Jason movies. What would be the proper way to actually end the Friday the 13th series? Well, end it on the 40th anniversary. Then we start thinking, well, what would be a proper way to actually end it the right way? So why not make 13 films? Instead of making one, which would be the total of 12 movies made, write 2 movie scripts, just not one, but 2 movie scripts. And then you could put the first one coming out, Jason. That's what we came up with, Jason, Friday the 13th, Jason, because the scripts are about Jason. Friday the 13th, Jason Part 1, Friday the 13th, Jason Part 2. And that would be leaving the films as a total of 13 films total. And if you bring the first one out in 2019, then in 2020 will be the last movie made on Jason, and it come out on its 40th anniversary. So we took this in consideration, okay? Just like here we put back into the series the horror and the gore that made this series one of the best of in its time. You know, I put this in here as well, just like when we go to the next page. Okay, we also, I was talking to people, and one thing you never see in a cameo, I mean, you know, that you see in these movies is cameos from past survivors, okay? We never see that. I mean, at the beginning of the film, they show clips from the previous one, but you never see them in the film itself. So me and him also decided, well, hey, let's get some cameos in there too. Let's write them parts back in there. Like in the scripts, we put back Trish Jarvis, Reggie the Reckless, okay, from different parts and different movies. Cameos we put in these scripts as well for these actors to come back and portray the role again, so people can understand what they're up to today, what that part of their life really affected them, you know. Plus it answers a lot more questions as well. We also looked at the part of about Elias, Jason's father. Okay, we never hardly hear about him. We actually never hear about him in the series itself. So we put him in there as well. We find out more about his sister, okay, because the main character in this is called Chris Jensen. He's retired New York detective. He was assigned to the 8 cases of the killings of Manhattan. When Jason takes Manhattan, he was assigning them cases, and he retires, and he heads back to Crystal Lake to do an investigation on the 8 the 8 cases that he's been working on. And he starts investigating Jason, you know, and he finds out a lot more than what anybody would think about. So when we was making these scripts and writing them, we decided to put cameos in there of past survivors from the movies. We also want to go into more of Jason's father, more into his mother's life, and to his sister's life and everything else. And what we did was, okay, is we took another big turn into the script, and I came up with this ideal. Okay, when we watch the Jason series, okay, and as I was watching Jason series, there was some different. Jason never looked the same as some of them. Okay, if you're going to make a movie about a killer like Michael Myers, okay, he's always had that same mask. Now the mask may get dirtier or darker. Okay, we could see that. Excuse me, I got to take a drink. But when it comes to the Jason series, okay, just like when you go from Jason Part 2, okay, he's got long hair on one side, partial beard and stuff like that. and his face is kind of messed up over here. But then when you go into jump into part 3, which is Friday the 13th in 3D, now Jason has no hair, and it's supposed to happen right after he busts through that window. It's supposed to be like the next day, okay, that he comes back, and now the hair is completely gone and everything else. So there was switching in between that. So I started thinking, and then when we watched the Jason series, we'll notice that one Jason had a blue eye, one Jason had a brown eye. So I started thinking, and I said, what will really clash this movie to make it real great and best of all times? So I'll give you a little hint on right here. As you see here, this is Chris talking. Jason's parents got a divorce, and Jason had a sister. Okay, this is what his line he's going to say. Now, as you notice, I blacked it out a lot because I don't want to give too much away. However, on the original certificate, they marked it a twin. Chris looks up into the camera. A twin. You see what I'm saying? When I came up with this ideal, it fits in the storylines, everything that we've done and we put in this. Okay, it fits in there, and some people has read it, and they said it was one of the best scripts they've ever read. Plus, some of the killing scenes we have in there is, no one's never thought of. Okay, that's in there as well. Like I said, we brought back that horror, we brought back that gore that made this film so popular, that made this film what you want to see in a film. So here is the 2 scripts, which now I'm going to point this up. These are the covers of it. I published them today. They're on Amazon. You can get them on paperback. Okay, script 1 and script 2. Okay, we put them in script form. We're not taking no credits for the Jason ideal or not like that. We're just showing people in case these never came into a movie, because we have to look at different facts. Because when you write a movie script, okay, people write movies. There's thousands and millions of movie scripts out there that's people just pushed aside and everything else. And then you have your certain contacts, and you got to talk to this person, that person, and then you're never going to get the full. You probably never, 95% of the time, you're never going to have your script read, or was never made or be made into a movie. And that's not fair to the fans, especially a fan of Friday the 13th. So we went ahead and put these in book form, made them into books, but they're still written in script form, so you can still read the dialogues and everything else. Okay, we've written them and we published them so a fan can read them and would understand that, hey, this would have been a proper way to end it. And then when they read the scripts, okay, they're going to get more insight, and they're going to know exactly what took place, what really happened, what happened to Jason's father, how did his sister come in, or how did, everything fits into place. Okay, like I said, we kept it to where it fits in to all of the series, okay, where everything blends in there and not just a part here, part there. Here's Jason over here, here's Jason over here. Jason looks different here, Jason looks different here. The whole time he didn't have a sister, but all of a sudden now he has a sister. So we put all this in there to answer that question as well, of all these questions that people ask about series. It's all the answers are found in these books here. Now, to get the full effect and the full look over the whole series on these last 2 here, you would have to get book 1 and book 2. It's best to read book 1 first, then read book 2, because when you read book 2 before you read book 1, you're not going to get a lot of the answers, okay? And you got to see how he found them answers and everything else. That's also put in this book as well, in both of these, okay? In the description down below, I'm going to leave a site for Friday the 13th, Jason Part 1, Friday the 13th, Jason Part 2, okay? In the description down below, you're going to be able to find them. They're on paperback on Amazon, okay? If you really want a true in-depth feeling, a true in-depth look at the proper way Jason's series should end, I would recommend these two stories here. Not because I read it and my son wrote both, we wrote these movies. It's the proper way to end this series. If you want to end a good series, like the Friday 13th series and Jason series, you should end it most likely this way. Because any other way is just going to throw people off. You're not going to have answers still. People still going to be looking at, well, what happened to Elias? What happened to Jason's father? How did Jason have a sister? And all these movies are not going to, when you look at one movie to the next movie, the next movie, it's starting to seem like it never made no sense. But now when you read these two scripts, you're going to see how all that unfolds and why that individual thing happened, why that happened in this part and this part and this part. So this blends it all together. Okay. Just like I said, cameos. Okay. Chris Jensen, he goes and talks to Trish Jarvis, Tommy Jarvis's sister. He also talks to Reggie the Reckless. Okay, cameos. There's other people that he also talked to from past survivors as well. That's in these scripts as well. So see, with these two scripts, not only we have cameos, but we have answers about Jason's father and what happened to him, more information on his mom, on his sister, and you're going to find a lot more out. So in the description down below, you're going to find the site where you can order Friday the 13th, Jason Part 1, and Friday the 13th, Jason Part 2. Both of them are on paperback right now on Amazon. Thank you, and Friday the 13th, Jason, yes. Have a pleasant day.